This is Quacks of Quedlinburg, a game we reviewed a few years ago and a game I really loved. And you can tell how much I loved it by just how grubby some of these tokens have gotten. Honestly, in terms of getting hands-on with it and really messing it up, only Cosmic Encounter in my collection is dirtier than this. And I mean, that's just such a floppy, gigantic box that not only does it not leave my house anymore, but I don't think it can safely leave the cupboard. And today we're going to be looking at Quacks of Quedlinburg, The Alchemists. The bigger expansion, or the second expansion, for this game which I love. But first of all, what is Quacks of Quedlinburg? Well, it's a game in the genre of putting your hand inside of a bag and having a bad time, as we've also seen with the Arkham Horror, Living Card Game, and Santa Claus before he took Union Action. It's a game of silly decisions, so much luck, and more hubris than you could use to fill a large hubris bucket. And I love it so much that for 3 years in a row, I think it's been my official game of the year, which gives you some indication of how much I like it, but also fundamentally how bad I am at my job. But as much as some people might not be able to stand the wild swings of luck of this silly potion explosion game, I adore it, and I'm so glad that it's sold enough to get these expansions. The Herb Witches and now the Alchemists. Now, I don't actually own a copy of the Herb Witches, which I probably should for the purposes of filming this, but honestly, I played it and I just wasn't that into it. That might be controversial, and we'll come back to why in just a little bit. But because we don't have a copy of the game to film here, and because people on Board Game Geek get incredibly angry if you ever use their photographs, I'm probably going to have to rely on asking Tom to draw a picture of 3 witches in 3 minutes.
Oh, God.
You'll see soon. But diving in now to the world of the Alchemists, and we've got a whole bunch of new options here. Honestly, systems going in and out of the wazoo. First of all, we've got a whole second little track for each player, which pops on the top of your cauldron, like so. Haven't quite got enough room for this game on this table, but that's becoming a bit of a constant theme on the channel. And so if you remember in the original Quacks, if you flipped over the board to the alternate, slightly trixier side, then you had a track of little bonuses you could get each round. And now in the Alchemists, each player has a second optional track that tokens are going to get moved along using different criteria. Also, you got patience. There's a severely unwell selection of strange looking people, and at the start of the game you're going to get to choose between 3 of them, with each player around the table able to choose the same type of patient if they want to. Thematically, this is wonderful, fleshing out the world in an odder way than anyone could have expected or wanted. A man with chicken eyes, for example. A carrot for a nose, standard. A man with ears so large they're causing him to fly. And most shockingly of all, someone who is nervous. I mean, you laugh, but don't creep up on me in the kitchen. And with our doctors now taking the novel decision to actually try and treat some patients, each of you is going to take a card, slot it into your little prime potion location. And from that, you're going to see all sorts of different bonuses you'll get should you manage to get your essence track high enough in the last round. How do you get your essence track wamped up to the max? Well, that's something that's quite simple, but I'm not really that keen on. Effectively, you want to have people nearby to you exploding their cauldrons, which obviously you want that on a normal basis anyway. You also want to try and get exactly 7 white chips out of the bag, which is usually the point at which any more and you'll explode. Quite like that. Push yourself just close to the edge. Bit of excitement. But finally, you're going to move 1 space up this track for every unique colour of ingredient that you've pulled out of your bag and put onto your cauldron during this last turn. And that part of things doesn't quite work for me. Look, to understand why I'm not super hot on the Alchemists, or Herb Witches if I'm honest, we're going to have to understand the makeup of what I think Quacks of Quedlinburg's is. It's time to go to the Crap Potion Lab. I'm Professor Useless, thank you so much for coming. Help yourself to a sparkling glass of pipette. And how do we make a formula like the Quacks of Quedlinburg? How do we make it pop? How do we make it shine? And how do we make it suitable for family gaming? And well, that's difficult. And I'm not saying that these elements of Quacks of Quedlinburg are essential in every good family game, but these are the ones that I think make it shine. Now, first of all, we've already got quite a lot of it in here. It is unfair. Crucially, the distribution of luck means that eventually it will be fair over many games, but in the course of one game, it will not be fair. Somebody will do better than you, you will have worse luck than someone else. Majority of this game is luck, and that's that. But the second vital ingredient to this is the fact that this unfairness is tempered with elastic bands. I probably could have just put some elastic bands in there, really. I don't know. I didn't really think about the props when I was... Poor little Timmy, who of course is aged 10 plus, as with the legal requirements on the side of this box, has lost a few rounds of this game. He's doing quite badly. His potion keeps exploding and it's not going well. But don't worry about it, because there's a system on the scoreboard involving rat tails, which means that you can really just recover quite rapidly in the middle of the game. And that's why I've always said that Quacks of Quedlinburg is like the Mario Kart of the board gaming world. Because, right, unless you're going to be Donkey Konging it away and shooting off a million miles into the future and no one else is going to catch you, Mario Kart is a game in which it doesn't matter if you're winning for the first lap or maybe the second lap. No. The weird rubber banding means you're going to get pulled forwards, and ideally you just want to be in first place at the very end. And also fundamentally, Mario Kart is annoying. You got the little Toad who goes, I'm the best, and the Wario who goes, I'm gonna win. And it's annoying. Quacks of Quedlinburg is annoying too, and that is the second ingredient. Now, lots of people argue that actually the rubber banding in this game doesn't work, and it is just straight unfair, but crucially I think it feels like you might have a chance of getting back into the lead. And honestly, that's mostly the only important thing, as long as you switch off the parts of your brain required to enjoy a family game. I'd recommend it. And of course, the third ingredient. This is magical. This is super important. Super important. The design of this game is 100% transparent. In the base game, the cork on this transparency is really doing a number on me. In the base game, effectively, you can just see what's going on. You can look around the table and immediately see how far around everyone's cauldron they've got. And you can go, what? How have you gone so far? Oh, you're on a really bad time. And that's because not only are there no secrets at the table, no hands of cards. In fact, the only thing that each player has of their own is their own bag of things that they've bought from the shop, and most people can't exactly remember what they've got in their bag. It creates a sense of camaraderie. It means you're all in the same boat, and you can see exactly how badly everyone else's boats are sinking. And finally, the ingredient that really murks it up horrendously, the sense that you could have maybe done something differently or better. Now, this is a crucial element to this mucky, horrid delight of a potion. And that's that each round you're going to be making unique decisions about what ingredients to put in your bags. Then you're going to be trying to merge that information with the knowledge of the probabilities of your own bag about whether or not you should pull another token out every round you play. And in reality, those choices might not be as relevant as you think, but the agency of those two decisions, the only two decisions in the game, what kind of thing do I want to build in my bag, and how far am I going to push it, gives you just enough sense of your own agency, owning your own hubris, whilst also not pulling you too far away from that also important key ingredient that you're all pretty much readably doing the same thing. Thank you very much, Kay. I really appreciate your time. And the issue I have with the Alchemists is that the changes they've made to the makeup of this potion makes it less suitable for my personal taste and possibly less suitable for little Tommy Brewsters. Now, this potion, as it is, obviously delicious, perfect. Obviously delicious. However, this final ingredient, which I'm sure you remember what it is, in case you didn't, it's additional rules and choices. Now, with these other expansions, we're adding a lot more of this to the potion. And the issue is, this, in the right cocktail, delicious. On its own, disgusting. Decisions. Nobody just wants decisions on their own. That's life. Ugh. And yet the extra systems here don't really add choices. So in the Herb Witches, and the reason I haven't got it, the system of having these 3 different witches and then everyone can spend one of those 3 tokens to do all 3 of these special abilities once during the game, it just has, there's too much of a sense of, well, what's special about something that everybody does? It doesn't feel like a cool moment. It just feels like a case of optimizing a route. The fact that you get a 5th player board and allows you to play a game with 5 players is admittedly good, and I probably should have got it just for that, and I'm actually an idiot, but what can I say? I just wasn't excited by that expansion after playing it, and if I ain't excited, I ain't getting involved. And with Alchemists, you appear to have much more depth and choice, but in reality, I don't know if you do. Sure, at the start of the game, you choose one of these different patients, and there's a whole bunch of these in the box, and you're gonna get a lot of replayability from trying different ones, and the fact that everyone can play as the same thing, or mix it up, etc. But you make that one fundamental choice at the start of the game, a brand new choice, that then starts to erode the choices you make throughout the game. This system of rewarding you for having a vast variety of different ingredients means that everyone tends to buy different things in a way that just feels slightly flatter, maybe slightly fairer, maybe slightly more balanced. And I feel the same way about some of the witch powers in the Herb Witch game. Makes things a little bit fairer. But I don't think I want this to be fairer. I don't think it plays to the game's strengths. And as we further cloud up this murkier potion, it's suddenly harder to see what's going on. And you know, Tommy is scanning around the table, trying to get a sense of what's happening. And rather than having this very simple escalation of, it's getting slightly more complicated. People are maybe interested about a power they might be able to activate. You start to get into that vein of board game decisions where somebody does something and you just sort of go, okay, I'm sure, that's fine. I believe that you can do that, that's fine, we don't need to get into the rules. Which in most board games, absolutely fine. But in this, you don't want it. You want it to be like, you exploded. And so why am I here? Well, I love the inclusion of another little ingredient, the loco weed, or as I kept accidentally calling it, dilfweed. I got into quite a lot of trouble for that, I wouldn't recommend doing the same thing. These really do add a bit of extra spice, and there's just something here that they haven't found yet. Something more. There's an expansion for this game that doesn't exist yet, and I really, really want it, and it's sold enough that I kind of feel like maybe it could exist. But as a counterpoint, maybe I'm just wrong. Loads of people love Quacks of Quedlinburg and love both of these expansions. Really enjoy them, because you know why? What these expansions are fantastic at doing is giving you nice things. Lots of moments where you just get something extra. Everybody gets some more money, everyone gets another thing, you get to draw another free thing from the shop. And that feels good, all right? So maybe don't listen to Mr. Mario Kart Hubris, who just wants to watch everybody explode, and listen to the people who just want to have a nice time. And maybe where I'll meet you in the middle is with the wonderful fortune teller cards. And this expansion does add another little deck of them to use with the game. It's one of the only examples in any game I've played where you have something you draw and do at the start of each round, which you don't forget. Or when you do forget, you forget quite early into the round and you go, oh, whoa, we haven't done the thing, because they're always fun. And again, they always give you that sense of solidarity around the table. You're all facing the same problem. Or, it's just Tommy, or you're all delighting in the same fun surprise. So what do we do? Well, make your own decision, obviously, but most importantly, do check out Quacks of Quedlinburg if you've not done before. I know a lot of people put it off because they think it's too light and too silly, but I think it's just the perfect blend of those things. And if you do want something else like this and the expansions aren't quite tickling the correct type of pickle, then I think, like me, maybe we just play something else. Cubitos is a marvelous place to start. More plasticky, more dicey, but hell, what a strange, wonderful thing. And that is all of the video we have time for, leaving me to finish off the remainder of this potion.
Still quite good. Still quite good, but not as good as it was before. Oh, it's delicious. It's really delicious.